Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today I just saw Knives Out trailer, the new Rian Johnson film. The Rian Johnson film that everyone is excited for. Did I mention that Rian Johnson wrote this movie? Did you know that Rian Johnson wrote it? I seriously, like, my instant reaction to this is the fact that Rian Johnson's name is literally all over this, and I'm amazed that he actually let them put Star Wars The Last Jedi as one of his accomplishments at the very beginning of the film. However, it's also just, to me, really pointing out just how big of an ego this guy has by the very fact that his name is literally all over it, and how the movie itself is about, oh, you're about to see who done it as no one has ever done it before. Basically trying to build this up as one of the greatest whodunit films of all time, and it makes perfect sense to me that Rian Johnson would actually have them right. I wouldn't be surprised if Rian Johnson actually wrote the trailer building this film up, because, in all honesty, this, to me, felt like the most smug piece of trash I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, some people are saying, like, oh, it's a trailer, like, what are you trying to say? You just hate Rian Johnson. That's the reason why. Look, I like Looper. I'm someone that still says, like, I like Looper. I thought that one of his early films actually was very good, called Brick. Brick was fantastic. Now, had he said, oh, writer of Brick and Looper, I would have been like, okay, so you're attaching yourself to your good projects. That's at least, you know, somewhat humble of you. But no, he's like, nope, I'm the writer of The Last Jedi, and that better be at the very front of it, and also my name better be all over this damn film, and you better try and promote this thing to hell and say this is the best film ever by anyone that's ever done a film in the history of filmmaking. What I think is interesting is that this dude, Rian Johnson, who's gone out of his way to attack Star Wars fans, has the gall to have almost an entirely white and mostly male cast, and he's the one that's like, oh my gosh, it's just a bunch of man babies, it's just a bunch of toxic sexist man babies in there. Oh really? Really, Ryan? Then why does most of your casts happen to have a certain appendage, and why are most of the casts of a certain ethnic background? I think that's kind of interesting. That's quite an interesting choice, Ryan. That's not hypocritical at all of what you're saying, Ryan. God, man, I cannot wait to tag Rian Johnson in this on Twitter, because Rian Johnson, to me, and I really do hope that this film just completely and utterly bombs. Really, like, honestly, I would say, if you're a person that thinks Rian Johnson needs to get the hell out of Star Wars, you need to say right now, hey, you know what, fine, I'm not going to support this film. I want this film to be a bomb. I want this film to be a low budget, because it's going to be a low budget bomb, with all these big names in it, with all of the support behind it in the world, and yet it's gonna bomb. And I really hope that is the case. You know that the critics have come out saying, oh my gosh, this is the most exciting movie I've ever seen. Oh man, no one's ever written a story like this before. Rian Johnson's really shown that he's a great actor, or he's a great writer and great director, and should stay in Star Wars because of that reason. No, he's the person that single-handedly destroyed Star Wars. And even you have people like Daisy Ridley, who are now coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, you know what, I can understand why people why people hate The Last Jedi. Daisy Ridley wasn't surprised fans hate The Last Jedi and teases emotional Star Wars ending. So obviously there's a lot of questions that are asked within this interview that she gave, and many people are focusing on just that one aspect, but I do think it is still very important because of the fact it says that it makes it very clear that she is going to not be on the defense of this film, and she is not going to go after the fans, which is a very, very good thing. This is the question. Writer-director Rian Johnson received a ton of backlash online after The Last Jedi, with many fans petitioning to remake the film and redeem Luke Skywalker's character. Were you surprised at all by the controversy? I wasn't surprised, no. It's just a different thing. Everyone's going to have an opinion now anyway on the internet, but I also think it's fair. If people hold something incredibly dear and think they know how it's going to end, and think how it should be, and it's not like that, it's fair for people to think that they were done wrong. It doesn't mean that they were, ultimately. Ryan's a filmmaker, and one person can't dictate how a film is supposed to be, but freedom of expression, sure. That, to me, is something that Rian Johnson needs to take note of. Rian Johnson, take note from one of your own actors from one of your own films, who understands how to talk to the fan base. I'm not trying to say that she's a perfect person either, because obviously, the reason why she's off social media is like, oh, I'm quitting social media because it's so toxic. You're quitting social media because you made a comment about why guns should be banned, and people went after you for it because you made a political comment, and that's not what you people in Hollywood should be doing. You should not be using your platform. You should not be using your name recognition to try and push political nonsense. Instead, you should just try and, share people what your projects are and what's going on. And maybe every now and then a passionate project that you're supporting, maybe every now and then there might be a petition or something that you might want to support. But when you are doing nonstop pandering to a certain political base, that's going to push a lot of people off. And the reason why you got so much backlash is not because of you being Rey in The Last Jedi, but everything to do with the fact that you made a political comment, and also it was a dumb political comment on top of that, regardless of everything else. But again, this is a response that Rian Johnson needs to take note from, because she is saying, I understand. I think that they have a right to be upset. I think and understand and totally empathize with what's going on. What did Rian Johnson do? Rian Johnson said, oh, you're just a bunch of man babies in your mama's basement. Oh, man, you're just... And he's been trolling fans ever since then. That's the reason why I honestly think Rian Johnson is no longer attached, because Disney would not allow a director to continue to antagonize the fans the way that he's done, especially when you have now Daisy Ridley coming out trying to say, okay, I'm not going to completely throw him under the bus here, but I'm going to at least talk to the fans much differently than what Rian Johnson does. To me, this is a very Disney corporate answer. And this is the same type of answer that Rian Johnson should be giving out on social media, but for some reason he's not. He's joining along a lot of the lines of many people who are actually either no longer or probably on the way out of Lucasfilm at this point because of the way that they've been acting. People like Pablo Hidalgo, for example, who I don't understand how in the hell he's still obviously attached. But people like Chuck Wendig, who were fired, and I think rightly so, because he was a complete D-bag. I think Rian Johnson falls into a very similar category. Obviously, he's not nearly as crude and as crass as Chuck Wendig, as the likes of a Chuck Wendig. But at the end of the day, I really do think that Rian Johnson needs to learn from that, because if he doesn't learn from that, if he doesn't finally mea culpa and say, hey, I made some mistakes, hey, the film is obviously, because again, objectively speaking, the film is flawed. Go check out Matthew Kadish. He did an entire breakdown over on Medium.com of why the film, from a story perspective, is not very good. Rian Johnson has even admitted that fact. And we said this over and over again. He's admitted that he is not a good writer. He's admitted that that is one of the weakest parts about him. And yet, when people are criticizing the writing of the film, he goes out of his way to troll the fans. Learn something from Daisy Ridley, Rian, or else you're going to follow the same fate as many others who have gone after the fan bases have had, and you're going to have another flop on your hands from a low-budget film. So again, if you want to make a statement, it's not boycotting Episode 9. It's not sitting home for that film. It's this one right here. Because at the end of the day, who is really the one that ruined Star Wars, that like really ruined the state of it? You know, we can make the arguments and have back and forth about J.J. Abrams, first attempts at The Force Awakens and whether or not it was a good movie or not. But I think all of us can come together and say, no, when things really went off the rails is when Rian Johnson got his hands on The Last Jedi and just completely destroyed it from a story perspective. Retconned various aspects of the story that didn't make any damn sense, did a lot of things that broke the actual canon of the Star Wars universe, and on top of that, that damn hyperspace ram, which does not make any damn sense within the realm of all the years of Star Wars, and as I said, breaks canon but also breaks the movies themselves, because now anytime I go back, if I accept The Last Jedi as canon, which in my head canon I don't, if I were to, then I would have to accept that hyperspace ramming is a thing, and then I would have to go back and say, okay, so why didn't they just hyperspace ram the Death Star with a droid inside and then not have to lose any life whatsoever? Oh wait, that's right. Oh, but the shields. Well, talk to Rian Johnson about that, because apparently he forgot the memo. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts on this? Have you seen the trailer for Knives Out? I'm obviously not going to put the trailer on here. I'm just going to put my instant thoughts and reactions to you, because that is just what I do. I don't want to actually, for one, they're going to copyright it immediately, and I don't want any of that nonsense. I don't want to deal with any of that nonsense, but also because I want to, tag Rian Johnson. In fact, hey, if you want to share this video, tag Rian Johnson in it and say, dude, your movie looks awful, and your name is all over it, and guess what? You are so full of yourself. And again, if you watch this trailer, you will literally think to yourself, God, Rian Johnson thinks of himself so highly because of how this film, like seriously, look at this film, look at the face here on Chris Evans. This to me is the face of Rian Johnson. It's just like, oh, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful at everything I do, and everyone says I'm great, and everyone says, oh, The Last Jedi was a revolutionary film, and oh my gosh, it was just so well written, it was so great, and no, it wasn't. Objectively speaking, it was not. Love to hear thoughts about this trailer, but also about Daisy Ridley and her comments here, and also again, Rian Johnson, please leave Star Wars alone. Go back to your independent films, because until you do leave Star Wars, and until maybe you can mea culpa maybe a little bit and apologize, your little independent films probably aren't going to fare very well either. So again, if you want to boycott anything, boycott this movie. Show Rian Johnson, yeah, we can speak pretty loud with our wallets. You thought Solo was bad? Just wait. Give him another trilogy. Give Rian Johnson a theatrical trilogy and see how bad that film does. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about this in all the comments and all the things that we talked about in the video in the comments below. If you like this video, smash the like button, give it a subscribe. Helps me out a lot. YouTube, of course, is probably going to demonetize this, or is probably going to put this somewhere else. So please go ahead and follow me on BitChute, so that way you can get instant access to all these videos. But also check me out on Hideout.tv as well. And again, I'll have the links to that in the pinned comment for this one, because that's actually a way where you can watch ads to support my channel by watching it. And so since YouTube's probably not going to do that, and it's probably going to demonetize it just because I'm talking about other things like BitChute and other the other platforms like Minds.com and Gab, and oh my gosh, I must be a hateful all-right person. It really does help me out a lot, because YouTube is just kind of destroying my channel, but hey, it happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.